Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've seen me before. It's time for my beauty A to Z project plan update. I've got a couple of empties, I've got some good progress on some of the other products, and I really just want to share them with you guys because if I don't sit down to film it today, I'm gonna forget to do it and I don't wanna have to do that. So I've just changed the angle of the camera and I hope this is a lot better. But one of the first products I used up was the Summer Fridays Jet Lag Skin Soothing Hydrating Mist. It's not one of my most favorite products I've used. I don't really think it added anything to me, especially in my routine when I used to do skincare with this. I will say though, sometimes when I had really dry skin, when I had done my makeup and none of the other products worked, whenever I did use this, it did hydrate my skin and it made my foundation sit comfortably in my skin again. However, I wouldn't really justify the price tag for this for that particular reason because that's not that big of an issue for me. There are other setting sprays I can use. So this was okay, but I wouldn't go back out and buy this. I got this in my Cult Beauty Advent Calendar for 2025 and it was nice that I got to experiment with different products, but it's not nice enough for me to go back and purchase. I'm happy at least that this is one thing done and I'm not going to be replacing this at any point either, which is also really helpful along with my no buy. Another product I used that was this Revolution gloss. So this was the collaboration situation that they did with Disney, and this is the Nightmare Before Christmas lip gloss. It's supposed to be a clear lip gloss and this is for Zero, which is like the little doggy. This was a nice gloss, but it's such an old product. I've had it since 2020 and I don't understand why it's taken me so long to use this. I think part of that reason is because it was a collab item and I knew I wouldn't be able to get it again. Like a collector's item sort of situation, and I knew I couldn't get this again. That was one of the reasons I kind of stopped or tried to avoid using this. And the other reason is I can't really justify because I have so many glosses and I don't know how I missed this one and I don't know why I missed this one. I think there was always just other products I kind of wanted to use. So when I was actually figuring out what to bring into this project plan, this was for the letter X by the way, I decided to pick this because whenever there's like a collab or like a collection released with a makeup brand, and whether that's a TV show, movie, just anything else like that, I always just add the Revolution X and then whatever the thing is. So this would be in the Nightmare Before Christmas because that's for me in my head, that's the collab section of it. And I think that's how some brands also label their collection. So I've kind of just always gone with that, and that's why I pulled this into the project plan. I'm so glad that it was done. It wasn't anything revolutionary or anything like that. It was a decent product. I didn't really need it, and it was more like a thinner formula of a gloss, so I felt like it was disappearing quite quickly and I was also able to get through it quite a lot. Also, there is a little bit of product in here, about this much, but I can't get any more out, and I if you can kind of see that, and I refuse to take the stopper out. I made that mistake when I panned up one of the glosses earlier on this year, and I'm not doing that again to myself because it makes the glosses so sticky and I could not care enough to ever go through that again. So whatever I can use I will use happily, and then after that point, as soon as it's causing me trouble and hardly anything's coming out on that dough foot, is going to be an empty for me. Also, for somebody who has, I think now I have 158 glosses, there is no need for me to take stoppers out. If I have maybe less than 10, I might consider it. Otherwise, I'm just using what I can and calling it a day. The next product is the last MT for this update, and this for letter H. So this was the Huda Easy Bake setting spray. I know when this came out there was a lot of hype over it because it's the formula that's known for the powders. She's going to release a setting spray for that. It made sense for her to release a setting spray because of the types of products that she was sort of releasing, and also for the fact that her powder is so popular. However, I don't personally think this is one of her strongest products, and I also don't like this one. The product is very leaky. You can kind of see around it, even though I did try to wipe it off, you can kind of see all around here where it's leaked. There's still some staining here and also over here too. So if I was to ever like you can kind of see that all of that product is leaked and gone everywhere. And then sometimes it would actually get stuck like this and I couldn't get it to release itself because there's nothing in here. I don't think I can even get myself to open this up, which is fine. The other issue I had with this was, apart from the leaking, was that the ball that's in here gets stuck. For Huda, I feel like a lot of the times her packaging is very finicky and not the greatest. It's leaky, and that's kind of been a thing with a lot of her products. I do still think that she really does need to focus a little bit more on the packaging side. I was using this during the weddings that I attended last year, and I had attended quite a few weddings, and there was a lot of running around. There's a lot of, as we know, that weddings can get chaotic. I'm from like a South Asian background, so for us, our weddings are very different, and they can get very chaotic. They're very busy. They're like full of a lot of stuff. I did not think that this held up my makeup at all for me. My skin did get oily a lot faster using this product, even though this is supposed to be like long lasting, it's supposed to just sort of set things in place and whatnot. And I know people were doing videos where they were literally putting this on, getting inside the shower, and then letting the water run, and then makeup was moving. I think that was a great demonstration, but that wasn't showing the longevity of this product. And I don't think the longevity is really there. And I am somebody who does struggle with my makeup, and it can become quite oily quite quickly depending on the day and what else I've used and the products and stuff like that. But I just don't think this product was necessarily worth me buying again. I do have two more. One is a full size, one is like the mini. The mini was for free, the full size I got. I don't know why I did that to myself. But because I have those two, I will use them up. But I'm still on the market now for setting sprays that last a very, very long time that can just like freeze your makeup in place. I have two more weddings to go to this year so far. I think there might be a third one. And for that third one, I'm going to need the strongest setting spray possible so that my makeup does not budge. And I just know that this is not going to survive at all. But this was okay to use. I just feel like there was a lot of issues I had with this, and it just made the process of it very frustrating. Last month I was like down here, and I didn't really have that much to go, and I didn't also have that many makeup days towards the end of February and the first half of March, so it took me a little bit longer than expected. And at one point I did think, like, am I gonna actually be able to use this up before the next update? Thankfully I did, because I was actually starting to get very frustrated, and I'm just glad that at least I have one less makeup product to sort of worry about. And I know that I probably wouldn't consider buying this one again just because of just because of everything I've already said. Now on to the rest of this, which is going to be about all the products I've used to some degree or the other. For the letter A, I have the About Face liquid lipstick in the shade Not Your Baby. This was part of the project I had last year, and I actually really love this colour, and I think it's such a fun sort of like cool toned ish leaning grungy lip product. I also really enjoy the formula. I do think it's very comfortable on the lips, and it's very easy to then top up on top of whatever's left over after this. And since the last update I've only used this once, and that takes my usage up to 3 out of 20, so I do still have quite some ways to go with this product. I think sometimes my looks are just very like, they lean very like neutrally, but also with the colors I then go for like a very neutrally nude lip anyway. If I'm doing anything really, really colorful today, I just matched my lip to my eyes because I thought that'd be kind of fun. But I do need to remember to use this. I think I've said this in other videos. At the moment I'm kind of just struggling because I have so many lip products part of this project and the other project that pan I'm doing, which is a running project pan. So trying to like balance all of those out can be kind of tricky, and I think at one point I will be able to like change that, but for now I'm kind of struggling just like balancing all of them out. But I still managed to get one use out of this, which is really, really good. I hope next time I can get a bit more usage, and I'm going to be back to wearing makeup anyway, so I think that would be easier to do then. But again, I'm loving this so far. I really do want to buy more products from About Face because this one is really good, and I've heard the foundation is lovely as well. And I like the look of their multi-chrome liquid eyeshadows, even though I don't really typically wear them, but I think that could be kind of fun. So I do want to sort of pick up other products. But one use isn't the greatest, but at least I got one use at compared to like not having used it at all, so that's kind of also nice. We skip B because I don't use that product, and we jump to C, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Amber Gold pot. So this is where I'm at now. You can't really tell the difference. In fact, I've probably just like moved the product around, but this I've had one use on since the last update, and I saw Sarah Rose using this. She's another project planner over here, but I saw Sarah Rose using this as like eye base. So she'd done her eye primer, but then used this as like a base, and then used other products on top, and that's how she's using up the product. And what I would normally do is use this, and then on top of, so I do like my eye primer, go ahead and do my eyeshadow that I want to use all over my like crease and my like outer corner sort of situation, and then I'd use this and leave it. But I found that this would just crease up on me, and it wouldn't really look nice, especially like in the inner corner here on both eyes, and that would be very frustrating, and that's why I didn't use this product. But if I use it the way Sarah Rose has been using it, I think I can actually get this done. I've got one use out of the 10. So since I've rolled this in from the start of the project, I've actually not touched it until this month. I think maybe like last week or something like that. So this is like a very neglected product. But if I try this more and more the way that Sarah Rose does it, I think I should be able to not only just get the 10 uses, but then eventually use it up. But it's just one of those products that I didn't have a bit of a hard time kind of remembering to use as well. And I don't really do that many neutral, like warm tone. Okay, not neutral. This would be more warm tone leaning. So I don't really do that many, like the neutral warm, nude warm tone look. That's the word I was looking for. So I don't know how this would necessarily work on how it would go, but I do still want to give it a go and see what happens with this. We skip all the other letters, we jump down to G, and this is the Glossier You perfume. My friend kind of got this for me for my birthday a couple of years ago, but I've had this for quite some time now. And I think I've had it either since 2022 or 2023. I think more 2023, but I generally can't remember because I've only been inventorying stuff since 2024. But I've still made progress on this, so it's only been a small amount, but there is still progress. The biggest was from the intro up into the first update, and I think now that I'm back to using like my other perfumes and I've sort of updated anything else I needed to update, like my perfume project pen and whatnot, I know what I'm gonna kind of roughly be doing. And most of the times I'll wear this in the house anyway because it is very old, so I don't know how it smells to other people on me. So then I just use it at home, and I always use some form of like a perfume anyway because it's nice, you know. Why not do some self care? And they're literally just gonna be collecting dust in my wardrobe. So yeah, I think maybe another 2 months of this, and I might be able to use it up. I'm hoping April, but I know that wouldn't happen. So maybe in May, this could be an empty. And I think that'd be kind of nice because it's old perfume, but I've always kind of wanted to use this. This is definitely something that I would see myself replacing. I don't think, or I don't know really if that's going to be the case this year. I might not do it this year because I've got so many other perfumes I want to use, especially from like pre 2025. And 2025, I just went insane. So yeah, I still have a lot, and I don't want to just keep adding things when I still have a lot to get through. But this would be really nice to like use up and then eventually treat myself to like a fresh bottle of it. Do you know what I mean? For the letter I, we have this Inner lipstick in the shade of maple. I got a set of like 4 minis that was gifted to me from my auntie. And there's not really much in the actual product. Like, literally, that is all that is in there. So it won't take me that long, but this is one of the two lipsticks I've been like heavily trying to focus in on, just because one, it's a mini and I feel like I can still use that quite quickly, but also I just I tend to gravitate towards a shade like this anyway. I have made progress and I have been marking it on my notebook. It's not the most amount of progress though, which is the problem, but there is still something. So that was the intro, that was last update, and that tiny, tiny little thing that you see there, that's the update from last. That's the progress I made from last update to now. So it's not the best, but I've still managed to make some kind of a mark. I think that's kind of nice. I am focusing on like two main lipsticks. One of them is this one, and the other one is a YSL lipstick. So those are the two main products I tend to try and gravitate towards, but I don't know how long I'm gonna have this for. Like this could be easily, like I'm gonna have to show you guys like this. This could easily take me like 3 months, but then it could also take me 6, depending on just what I decide to pan it when I pan it. But it would be very nice to have this as an empty. I haven't panned like a full size lipstick in a while, so if I can just like get use out of some of my minis, I think that would also be great. And this is a nice formula. It's very comfortable and it does kind of feel moisturizing too, which is always like an added bonus. But yeah, it would be nice to eventually have this one done as well. For J, I have this Beauty of Joseon eye cream. This is the Revive Eye Serum, which is ginseng and retinol in here. I don't know if this is really working. I do think my under eyes feel a little bit drier. So normally, like my under eyes used to be very. I used to kind of struggle because I used to feel like that whole area is kind of oily, or at least like it used to be well hydrated. But I feel like since I've been using this, it just feels drier. So when I do my makeup, it feels very dry on me, and it's very strange. I don't know if it's to do with this or if it's just my entire skin has changed completely, and that's also been the case because my skin isn't as oily as it used to be, but I have to wait for the summer to really figure that one out. um it feels nice on the skin though, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if I would necessarily buy this one again. I know there's a couple other eye creams and eye serums that I would like to try after this one, and I haven't really noticed any big difference in my dark circles, but I also haven't been sleeping properly, and I haven't been hydrating properly, and I haven't been eating properly, so all of those factors do kind of contribute in my dark circles. So I can't just say that this is a completely useless product when I'm also not doing the other things that are supposed to that can also make dark circles worse. Make it make sense, I suppose. But I have been enjoying using this regardless. It feels very nice in the skin, and it sinks in very easily and very beautifully. So I do like that, and I've not had an issue with this like pilling any more makeup either. So that's also been an added bonus for me using this, because I know sometimes some eye creams just don't work well with other products, but this has been fine for me. I don't know if I'm going to repurchase this at this current stage though. For the letter N, I have this NYX eye pencil in the shade Orange Zest. I do actually really like this, and I love the formula of these. These are very nice. I will just try and swatch that. So that's what that sort of looks like. It is beautiful. It's very easy to use. My only issue is that with this though, it's kind of old, and anytime I seem to use this, everyone thinks that there's something wrong with me, or maybe I've been crying, because they to other people it looks like my eyes are like irritated something. I don't know, which I always find kind of funny whenever somebody brings up to me. But this is still a nice product. It is old though. It's the only concern that I have, but I have made some progress on here. So that's sort of where. So I put the pencil like this, and then I'll mark it inwards. So that was where I was. I think in the intro, the last update. No, I think the intro because I didn't use it for a while, and that's how much progress I've seen to have made, which is kind of nice because it's always nice to see some form of physical progress. I don't know if I'll be able to completely use this up, which was the initial goal, because where this is old, this could at any point start irritating my eyes. And I haven't done an orangey look, or I've not done any makeup with that eyeshadow that I would then go ahead and use this eye pencil. And whenever I have done a makeup look where I don't use eyeshadow, I've used my other colourful pencils instead. So this has kind of almost been neglected. And I have another eye pencil from NYX I'm using. It's the one I'm wearing today. Not that you can really sort of see it, but it's like a lilac-y colour similar to my lips, but it just doesn't translate like that on my actual waterline. So I've been trying to pan that along with a black eye pencil and this one, and there's another blue one that I have. So it's just hard sometimes to balance all of that out. But I think what I might have to do is do some very specific concentrated looks with this particular pencil and see if that helps me get some usage on this. The next product is the Patrick Tar blush in the shade She's Adorable. So hopefully editing me just adds all the previous photos already so you guys can kind of see that. So last update I had 4 uses in this product, and since then I've got 6 new uses, and I found that this works very well along with the liquid Charlotte Tilbury blush that I'm using in my rolling project pan update, because they're pretty much the same color. That's just a liquid formula. This is the like a powder formula instead. So hopefully I've shown you the intro update 1, and I think this update 2. So this is what we're looking like now. Like, that is crazy. There is quite a big pan. Last update I hit pan, which is nice, but since then I've expanded the pan a little bit, but I've also, like, you see this part here, I've kind of like worn down a product here too, so that's been kind of nice as well. But I have made good visible progress on this product. My only issue with this product is though it is getting very old, and I've had it for quite some time anyway, which means this has lost some of its actual pigmentation, but it's also very powdery, and there's a lot more kickback on this than it was before. Even compared to just last year to now as well, there's like a big difference in this. So I'm using a lot more of this product anyway to get the look that I want. So what I've been trying to do instead now is just use this along with the other blush instead, because they're basically the same shade and it helps that last longer too, which is always useful to have. But then it does mean that I get more use out of this one and that one. So 10 out of 30 uses is pretty good. I'm hoping that I can actually, before the summertime, just hit all my uses on here, because once I do that, I'm literally going to take this product out of this project pan and chuck it in the rolling project pan. So if I don't finish that liquid blush by the time I hit the 30 uses on here, I'm just going to be panning the two of them together, because that makes so much sense in my brain. Because initially I wasn't doing that, but the thing is, sometimes like liquid products, especially liquid blushes, they start to like lose color a lot faster on my skin. So to make that last longer, I just add a bit of powder in the same sort of shade, and it just helps like lock it in for a little bit longer, which is always nice. And you kind of want that, especially if it's like a long makeup day. So that's kind of how I've been trying to use this up, and that's why I've ended up with so many uses in this particular product, because whenever I use that, I then use this, and it makes so much sense. The next product is the Becca highlighter in the shade Rose Quartz, and since last update I've used this product 3 times, so that's not the greatest considering how much progress I was making from the intro to the first update. And I remember I even hit pan, but since then I have still managed to like use this a couple of times, and I have made some level of progress on here. You can't even see that. I hope that's better. So there is like a good, there's like a pan, but there's also a good dip going on over here as well, which is always nice to see. I tend to like just I don't concentrate specifically. I just let the brush hit naturally wherever it does. And a lot of the times I was just using this highlighter in my inner corner, except right now I'm not doing that because I'm focusing on a different highlighter to try and use that one up. But this is a really nice highlighter. I don't know why I hated it last year, but this year I've really been enjoying this product, and I gravitate towards this quite often. Obviously, I've not had as many makeup days since the last update, so that kind of is the reason why there's only been 3 uses since the last update. But it does mean I'm up to 15 uses, and the goal was hit 25. I don't know if I want to then add this into my other project plan to like focus on using this one up, because I have so many other highlighters as well. What I might do though is take a break for some time and then bring it back in, but on like a usage basis, because that seems to be working quite well for me. Because at least that way I can like rotate through some of my other products too. Because I think I really sort of need that too. But this is such a beautiful, like pink leaning highlighter, and it sits nice on my skin. It goes well with a lot of my looks. I literally could have use this today, but I decided to use something else instead. But hopefully, maybe the thing is, I could easily hit 10 uses by the next update and then just have this rolled out. But I don't know if I'm going to do that, because I have other things I want to focus in on. But I'm just happy to see that there's a big size dip going on, because it does mean that I can then expand the pan quite quickly, quite nicely. And that would also be really, really cool. So I don't know if I can do that by the time I'm done hitting all my uses in this, which is 25. But it'll be nice to see what this looks like next month. Next is the Revolution Pro gloss in the shade Become. This, I have used this quite a few times. This is just what the shade looks like, but there's no noticeable difference on here just yet, because I use a little bit and it goes along with, because it is a pigmented liquid gloss. Of course it's a liquid, it's a gloss, but because it is kind of pigmented and I don't need that much, because typically if I use it, I use it to make my, if I've done like, if I've used a lip product and it's now leaning too brown, but I wanted it to be more pinky, that's when I typically use it. So this will last me quite some time. I think eventually though, down the line, after I've panned some of the other products I'm currently focusing on, I then will end up focusing in on this gloss, because obviously I want to use it up. And I think this is another gloss from 2020, which is actually disgusting. And I chose to pan some of my oldest glosses because it works well. It feels fine. There's no smell to it. There's no change to it at all that I can sort of see. So I've been using this, and I'm hoping to just continue using it. And eventually I will decide to like, I will get to that point where I then just focus in on this one specifically to use it. And I think it'll be nice to have another gloss as an empty, and I have been on a bit of a roll anyway with using more glosses, so that'd be kind of nice. For the letter T, I have the ordinary AHA 30% and BHA 2% peeling solution. I was supposed to take photos of my skin and I completely forgot to do that, but I have made some progress on it anyway. So that was intro, first update, and this is where I am for this update. So not that much. Not, I think I maybe used this once or twice since the last update, so it's not that much. But I do want to get into a routine of using this product at least once a week. I say that, but then I have so many other masks I want to kind of use as well, so I don't really know what I'm going to kind of do with that. But it would make sense to at least use this once a week, because then you can see more noticeable difference in that way. I When I did use this previously, I did feel like it helped with some of my scarring I have on this cheek. I have like ice pick scarring almost, but then I also have like acne pigmentation and pores as well. But I do feel like it kind of helps all of that anyway in general. So it would be nice to just use this a little bit more frequently, so I can get more like visible and noticeable like difference to the skin. And I'm gonna try and remember to take a photo of my skin hopefully tomorrow, and then I can keep track of that and then show you guys if there's a before and after. I don't know. We will see. But I'm using this. It's working fine for me. I just make sure that I use a thick hydrating moisturizer after using this one, and I don't use any other actives or anything like that, because I need my skin to then just like heal and like just be really hydrated. So after this product, I only ever do this at night time, or at least when I know that the sun's sort of setting, so it's not like too hot. And then I might have to just stop this in like summer when it's like heat wave period, because I don't want to like fudge up my skin. That is not something I want to do. But yeah, there's been progress on here. I don't know how long this will take me to use. It's one of those products I kind of forget to use as well, so I'm trying to sort of like stop that from happening as well. But it is a good like, it's a decent product, I'm not gonna lie. And for the letter U, I'm panning the Oma palette that I had last year as well. This is the Royal Heritage palette, and this came out as the sort of collection slash collab situation when they did the Coming to America 2 movie, and I did feel like the collection itself was very beautiful, but this is the only palette I got. I got two palettes, but then I only kept this one because it is such a beautiful palette and the colors are amazing. And I also really love using this. I'm not really massive pink eyeshadow person. I think I was at one point. It is a beautiful color though, don't get me wrong, but I don't use this as much as I used to use this like 2 years ago. Regardless, it's still beautiful. I have two uses on this product since the last update, and I think the two uses came from using this one with, I think, either this eyeshadow, and then using this one this month. I used this pink for a really nice pinky look, and I really like that too, even though that day my eyeshadow wasn't working out. So there is no noticeable difference in this palette itself since I rolled in, because the goal was only 5 uses, and it seems each month I'm using this palette at least once. So I use it once in January, then I use it once in February, and I use it once this month before the update. That's why it's now 2 uses since last update. It takes me up to 3 out of the 5. And the reason I decided for it to only be 5 uses is so that I don't feel too pressured, but also don't start to then hate this palette, because it is a beautiful palette. I love the formula, I love the shimmers, I love how it sits on my skin, my eyes, after like this sort of settles down, and I didn't want to get rid of it. So that's why, along with that, and I also decided to pan a eyeshadow palette, and then I also rotate through all my eyeshadows because I have so many. So it doesn't really make sense for me to then like do too many uses on a palette. It would be nice to sort of use this and put it away for some time and then bring it back out instead. So yeah, so far really liking this. Up to 3 uses now, so I only have 2 more uses to go, and I could quite easily do that. So by May, like by May's update, this should be rolled out, this project pan, and it would be nice to sort of take a little bit of a break from this and then bring it back out when I'm ready to bring it back out. But this has always been like a really good palette, and I've enjoyed using it every single time I've done makeup. Like, I don't think I could ever sit here and say I've had one bad makeup day using this palette. For the letter V, I'm panning the Vera Wang Princess perfume, and I've gone through so many bottles of this, and I was really struggling with what to bring in for the letter V. So I decided that I'll pan a perfume, since that is something that I'm focusing on this year anyway. So I've been marking down the sides. You can kind of see that, kind of not. Hopefully that's a bit better. So that's, I think, where I was in the intro. That's where I was last update, and this is where I'm at now. So there's been steady update in this perfume every single month that I've used this, but because this bottle is sort of like goes out and then comes back in again, I think now where I'm at the widest part, I think maybe from the next update I'll be able to get through this perfume a lot faster than I currently am getting through right now. But of the two perfumes that I'm panning in this project pan, my main focus is this one, because I have a lot less in here, and then I will focus on this one. So once I use this one up, I'll have less perfumes, because at the moment it's 7 perfumes in total that I pan almost at once, and that is usually at the moment like two in my project pan is like 2 full-size perfumes, and usually like 3 samples depending on how many samples I have, and then plus these two. So there's like between 4 to like 7 perfumes at one time that I'm trying to like rotate through and use up. But this is the main focus, and then once that one's done, this will turn into the main focus. But I do love how, like, not sweet, but I love how like soft the scent of this is. It's not too much, it's not too overpowering, and it's not too intense as well, which I really like. And I feel like this is a really good like day-to-day perfume if you want something that's like easy to like throw into your bag for that, whether that's for school, for college, uni, work, depending on where you're working. I think this is a nice, easy scent to use. And I've used so many bottles up, and I can always see myself buying this one again and again. And I genuinely think I probably will end up buying this one again after I use this up. But yeah, I've been enjoying using this. I think next month I might be able to have a little bit more progress, because even at the back, the bottle kind of like comes out a little bit, and then it kind of just like goes in. So I think from now up until whenever I use this up, there will be slightly more progress per month, and I think that'd be kind of nice to see, because it is an old perfume and I want to use it up and enjoy using it up before it expires. For the letter Y, I'm panning my Love Shine, I think the number is 210 or 201 lipstick, and this, I've made a little bit of progress in here, but that's also all I have left of this. of all of the lip products I'm using, this one and the Illamasqua are the two lipsticks that I'm really focusing on, and I have had some progress since the last update. It wasn't much, again, because I didn't do much makeup for most of February and then most of March, but that was the intro, that was the first update, and that's where I'm currently at now. But I do think that for next update there'll be a lot more progress on this, because I actually used this yesterday, but I marked this before then. Or did I mark it yesterday? No, I marked this last night and I made a lot of progress on it yesterday because yesterday was Eid. So I've made that much progress on here, because before yesterday, I think I may have used this on 2 other days, and then before that I was using a bunch of other lip products that I was planning. So yeah, there's not been that much progress on this so far, but I do think that by next update there will be a lot more, and I have really enjoyed using this. I don't know if I necessarily go back out and buy this one again. If I do, I'll only ever like treat myself, but because I have this one and one other one, I think I'm okay for now. And so far, like, I've not had a major itch to go buy anything anytime soon, so I think that's been really helpful at the moment for me, especially when it comes to recovering from a shopping addiction. So that's been really, really good. But eventually I can see myself maybe buying one to just like treat myself to one, but I do feel like it's a very much overpriced product. But then you kind of are buying like an expensive, like a high-end brand, so it kind of also makes sense why it's going to be charged at that price. But yeah, I already have one other of this, and I have a couple of other like expensive ones I want to use up, so I don't think I'd be in a rush to buy anything, like go out and buy a replacement of this anytime soon. But I do still think eventually I will buy another one of these because it is a nice product regardless. And the last product is this Zoeva lip pencil in the shade um Blooming Impression, and this is a swatch of what that looks like. It is a very nice lip pencil. I actually did not get any use in this product since I rolled in, and that is because I was focusing on two other lip pencils. But then, because I knew I had this to pan, I decided that in my rolled in project pan, I wasn't going to replace my last lip pencil with another lip pencil, because I want to actually use this one up first. And once I use this one up, then I can start bringing back lip pencils in the project pan. So I replaced that with something else for now, so I can actually focus in on this. I do think it's a beautiful shade. Again, I used it yesterday for Eid, and I have been using it a few more times over the last couple of weeks whenever I've sort of done my makeup after using up that lip pencil, and this has been very nice to use. I think this will take me a good couple of months to use though, which is fine with me because it is a really good formula, and I do actually really like the shade of this one too, and I have been panning it for some time. So last year I did start panning this, and I think it was panning it part of this project pan anyway. I made a lot of progress, but I think this year I do just want to use it up, because it is again like an older product of mine, so it'd be nice to use this one up. Again, it's a beautiful color, the formula sits really well on my and lasts a long time too, and that's always nice to sort of have. But yeah, I've made progress actually, so I can show you guys that. So that's how big the pencil was from the intro, and then that's how much I've used up, and I've only used this up since the last like after the last update is when I've actually started using this one up. So that's still considerable amount of progress. I think I could have a lot more progress though by next update, and I think that'd be kind of nice. But I also think that this product will take me a good couple months to use, so this could be here by the end of June. It just depends on a couple of different factors, but it has been beautiful, and I have really enjoyed using this. And one of my cousins actually tried it yesterday, and she also liked the color as well, so it's a nice one. I think I would eventually buy this one again because it is a beautiful like formula shade as well. Just loved it, 10 out of 10. But again, I have so many lip pencils, I do not need to do that anytime soon. But that was everything for this update. There's been some positive things that have come out of this update, and I'm glad I've been able to use up 3 products. There's a couple of these I could use up very soon, but it is like there's a chance I might have the MC for next update, and if not, it'll be the one after that. And I think the one after that might be like a big one. So I don't know. It's been nice to be able to see products either being used up or just like the visible progress that I've made in some of these products has been really nice. And also I've been tracking the usage on just a couple of these, and it's always nice to see how many times I've used a product compared to last update.